Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I'm going to be doing a book haul. There are approximately 70 books on this list. It's a lot of books. In my defense, a lot of these were gifts. I think just over half of them were gifts. I got some pre my birthday, for my birthday, and then also for Christmas. And then there are some books that I purchased myself throughout the last month or two. Before I jump in, I do just want to say a huge thank you to anybody who bought me anything. The generosity of my friends and the community is honestly just wonderful, and I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you, and your generosity is just really something, so thank you. So I guess let's just jump right in. I'm going to start with my pre-birthday gifts. Before my birthday, I was unfortunately a little bit unwell. I was having a little bit of a rough time, and two of my friends and my mum bought me books, and it was such a wonderful surprise. And the first one was from my good friend Angela. I've mentioned Angela on my channel many times at this point, and she got me Child Thief by Brom. I don't know much about the story. I purposely kept away from knowing too much about the story, but I've heard that it's very dark, it's quite creepy, and the thing that really pulled me in was the fact that there is really beautiful art in the book. So she picked that up for me, and I know she's read Brom before, a different book, and she really enjoyed the vibe and just the general way that he writes. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. I'm planning to pick this one up in like Q4 of next year when it's winter, maybe like October time when it's like near Halloween, because I feel like this is the perfect book to read around that time. The second one I got was Colours in the Steel by KJ Parker. This is the first book in the Fencer trilogy, and this was gifted to me by another very good friend of mine, Katrina, who I've also mentioned multiple times on my channel. She knows I love KJ Parker. It's probably unsurprising to anyone now that KJ Parker is one of my favorites. I'm going to read one of his trilogies next year, and The Fencer is pretty high. It's either going to be The Fencer or the Two of Swords trilogy. We'll have to see. I'll have to see with Alan which one we want to pick up first. I was actually going to purchase it and she got it for me, so it worked out great. So thank you, Katrina, and thank you, Angela. The third one is The Khan by Simon Meir, and my mum bought this for me. My mum very rarely buys me books because she knows that I'm quite particular in my taste. She used to buy me a lot of books when I was younger, but pretty much as soon as I could afford buying books myself. It's kind of swapped. I love buying my mum books now and giving her stuff that I think she's going to be interested in. And anyway, she purchased me and she didn't tell me. My mum is really bad at keeping presents secret, and she kept this a secret. And it turned up and I was like, did I pre-order this? But it looks amazing. The very high level is that it's about a Muslim woman. She gets pulled into a bunch of intrigue. To be perfectly honest, I don't know much more beyond that, but it's like a thriller with religion and politics underpinning it. I'm very excited to read it. She is an author that I have heard about, and I think I'm going to really enjoy it, and I can't wait to pick it up. So thank you, Mum. For my birthday, we got quite a lot of books, so I'm just going to try and get through them relatively quickly. Otherwise, this video is going to go on a while. So again, no particular order. First book I got was Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey from my wonderful friend Charmaine. I haven't read any Tchaikovsky yet, who is one half of the S.A. Corey duo, and I'm going to be reading some of his stuff soon. Leviathan Wakes is probably not one I'm going to get to for a while, just because it's such a big series, and my big series at the moment that I'm reading is Wheel of Time. So until I either continue through that or I give up on it, I'm not going to start another big series. But the book that she got me, the edition that she got me, is absolutely stunning. It's with the pink sprayed edges. It looks really stunning on my shelves, and I can't wait to pick it up because I've heard it's a really strong, solid sci-fi series, so you can't really go wrong. The second book that I got, the next two books that I got were from Sharon. Sharon is wonderful. She's such a generous human being, and she got me Winds of Strife by U.G. Gutman, which is a book that I've had on my radar for a while. I love the sound of this book. The magic system sounds wonderful, and I cannot wait to pick it up. I'm debating whether I should just read it or whether I should wait for his other books to come out. I know I think he's a self-published author, and this was his debut, and so I can't wait to read his stuff. Like, I'm just so excited about that magic system, and it's just a matter of time before I pick it up. But I just need to figure out whether I'm just going to wait or whether I'm just going to go ahead and jump in, because I really have a strong feeling that I'm going to love it. The second one was Nightfall by Daniel Barnett. This series first came onto my radar by Andrew from Andrew at Wizardly Reads. And I actually recently purchased the fifth book of that because it was like £2 on Amazon, and I thought it would be a crime for me not to get it. So I'll just mention that now. And it's the books are pretty short. I think the fourth book is quite big. It's like a normal size book. I think it's like 300-400 pages. But the other books are like 100-150 pages. So it's a really palatable series to read. Could be a good palate cleanser in between other series or other standalones that you're reading. And I really like the sound of it. It sounds something right up my alleyway. The next two books were gifted to me from my friend Ariel, who I've also mentioned multiple times on my channel. She got me Soulless by Gail Carriger and Changeless by Gail Carriger. I don't actually know the name of the series, but it's like a kind of Jane Austen meets the Dresden Files, I believe. It's kind of set in I think it's Victorian England, and you follow this female detective as she solves crimes, I think. I think it's fantasy. It recently came onto my radar, actually, and I just put it on my wish list, so I'm really glad that she got this for me, because I'm always looking for female-centric books, and I love a good detective angle to a story as well, so I'm excited for those two. And then Ina is another very good friend of mine. She got me 4 books for my birthday. So the first 2 books that she got me are part of the same series. She loves this series, and that is the first 2 books in the Red Rising trilogy. I think it's a trilogy by P.S. Brown. So I have Red Rising and then Golden Sun. This is a series that I've heard rave reviews about generally from a lot of people that I really rate, Ina being one of them. And so this is a series that I'm definitely going to try and prioritize for next year. Can't wait to read it. I've just heard really good things about it, and I think I'm probably going to enjoy it. The next one is The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu. This is a collection of short stories. I've only heard really good things about Ken Liu's writing. I have Exhalation, which I haven't read yet, but I would like to read either The Paper Menagerie or Exhalation next year. Or I might just even fit some of the stories in between larger books that I'm reading. This is another one that I'm really looking forward to. And then the next one is a classic, and I can't believe I haven't read this book. I feel like it's criminal at this point. And that is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I'm going to try and prioritize this for next year because I love those films. They're such a big part of my childhood. That soundtrack, just everything about them. And I can't wait to read it. It's going to be a priority of mine for next year for sure. The next 2 were from Angela again. So these were for my birthday. She got me The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. The thing that I love about the books that Angela got me is that they're not fantasy books, because that is predominantly what I read, but I am trying to branch out and read other stuff as well. And The Vanishing Half was a book that came into my radar from another friend of mine. I really love the sound of it, and I know Angela really enjoyed it as well, so I'm looking forward to picking that up as maybe something in between some of the heavier fantasy stuff that I'm reading. And then the next one she gifted me is from a new favourite author of mine, and that is Ablutions by Patrick DeWitt. I actually read that recently. My review might be up by now, it might not be, it depends on whether I've edited it or not. But really loved the story, and she knows me too well because I'd been raving about The Brothers Sisters to her so much, and I can't wait for her to pick it up, and I think she's going to love Ablutions as well. Another friend of mine that I've mentioned earlier on, and that is Katrina. She got me Jingo by Terry Pratchett. She knows that I really like Terry Pratchett. I need to read more Terry Pratchett. I feel like I need to allocate a Terry Pratchett book for like maybe once every other month, because there's so many books that he's written, so many of them that I want to read, and I own quite a few of his books now, and I need to like carve out the space for me to read them. Otherwise I feel like I'll just keep adding them up. But she loves Terry Pratchett. Her and Alan are like the Terry Pratchett prophets, and I can't wait to read more and also talk to her more about an author that she loves so much. And so I'm very excited to get to that. The next 2 are from a sci-fi author, both books that I cannot wait to read because they're really good palate cleansers, I think. And so we have The First Man in the Moon by H.G. Wells, and then the second one is The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. I read The War of the Worlds earlier this year. I have a review up about it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really solid sci-fi, and I can see how he's influenced the broader sci-fi genre. I'm very excited to read more of his works because I've heard, even though The War of the Worlds gets the most amount of press, I guess, because of the movie, I have a feeling that some of his more undercover stuff is probably going to be better, just because I feel like that happens a lot. I don't know. I could just be making that up. The next one I got was from Kate. She got me The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. That is a historical fiction book that I actually think I spoke to Angela about, and she put it on my radar as a story that she really enjoyed. I do like World War II historical fiction, but I feel like it can get very repetitive sometimes. And so Angela told me that, I think it was Angela and Ina actually, that both told me that Alice Network is a pretty solid choice. And so, you know, I put that on my wish list, and I'm very excited to get to it. I think it's one I'm going to try and read next year. I don't know if I'll get to it, because I've already planned out pretty much most of my year, and I don't know. Ultimately, I will go with what my mood wants, but I have a feeling that I could try and fit it in next year, so we'll see. The next two were from Abby. We have the first one, A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin, apologies if I butchered your name, which is I think it's like quite a dark sci-fi trilogy. I've heard generally very good things about that series and that first book in particular. And then the second one I'm very excited to read, and I'm going to try and read this next year, but we'll see. That is The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've read The Earthsea Cycle by Ursula K. Le Guin, which I really enjoyed. I read that, I think it was like early last year before I was on BookTube or Discord or anything, Bookstagram even. I've heard the writing in The Dispossessed is just absolutely stunning, so I cannot wait to read that. My friend Tim, shout out to Tim, he also got me 2 books. He also ended up getting me A Memory Called Empire. This is the thing, I have a gripe with Amazon wish lists because they don't remove the book. And I get why they do it, because they want to keep it a surprise, but they should tell whoever is looking at the list that it's, you know, been purchased by someone else. And anyway, he ended up getting me the same book. So I have 2 copies of the same book, but we're going to try and return it. We're trying to figure out a way to return it for something else. And then he also got me Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, which is a book that I know he really liked. So I'm very excited to read that. Probably not next year, but the year after that, because he raved about it. But it's in my reserves. So like if I feel in the mood for it, I'll pick it up. I know you really enjoyed it, so Tim and I have pretty similar taste in books, so I'm excited for that one. And then Josephine from Fine Reads got me The Devil You Know by KJ Parker. It was such a lovely surprise, and the fact that she got me KJ Parker, who was a new favorite author of mine, just, you know, I love it. Next, so I don't actually have this book yet because it's not out yet. It's quite funny. But Alan got me Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. He pre-ordered it for me. Cannot wait for that book to arrive. I know he loved it. I know Angela's about to pick it up soon, and I can't wait for her to hear her thoughts. And it's just, I know it's going to be a book that I love. The premise of the book sounds amazing. It's the sort of thing that I know is right up my street, so I can't wait. The next one I got was Shogun by James Clavell. It's kind of historical fiction. It's a mammoth of a book, but I've heard wonderful things about it. I actually found out that Alan loves it. I cannot wait to pick this book up. I'm going to try and find time for it next year, if not next year, the year after that, because it is a big one. And I think it's trilogy, and they're all pretty hefty books, so I need to figure out the best way to fit that trilogy in, but I'm very excited to read it. Last but not least, my brothers got me Academic Exercises by KJ Parker, The Subterranean Press. Very, very, very hard to find, and it's very expensive as well, because they're very hard to find. But my brothers asked me what I wanted for my birthday. They always get me like a special edition, rare edition book. It's kind of become a little bit of a tradition now, and I asked for Academic Exercises and they picked it up for me, so I'm very grateful for that. But I do have the ebook, but I'm obviously going to read the physical copy because I prefer reading physical copies of books when I can. All right, we're going to go on to let's go on to my own purchases, and then we'll go on to Christmas gifts. So Amazon had a 3 for $5 book sale or something, and there were a couple of books on there that I was kind of intrigued by. All, I think, YA, which is interesting because YA is not really my thing, but they were all books that I'm interested in still, even though I'm not really into YA anymore. So I got The Daughter of Unspoken Bone by Laini Taylor, Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, and The Dreams of Gods and Monster by Laini Taylor, so that's the whole trilogy. I've heard very interesting things about her writing style. I think her prose can be a little bit flowery, but I've also heard it can be very beautiful, so I kind of want to just experience it for myself, and I'm very excited to read that trilogy. The next one was Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. Apologies if I pronounced your name wrong. I don't know much about this book, but I know that quite a few of my friends who've read it really enjoyed it, and I really love the cover of it, so it was a little bit of a cover buy. So, you know, I thought, why not? And then the next one was Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. Now, I think it was Charmaine who put this series onto my radar, and I really like the sound of it. I think it's kind of like Middle Eastern Asian inspired. I think it's more Asian inspired. And it just sounds like a YA series that I could get behind, so I thought, why not? Let's get the first book and try it out. And the next book, I actually ended up getting 2 copies of because I pre-ordered it from 2 different places and I didn't even realize. And that was Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World by Benjamin Sayend. I've talked about Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe so many times on my channel. Beautiful story, beautiful characters, wonderfully thematic. And this is the second book, and I cannot wait. I don't know if there's going to be a third one. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know how I feel about there potentially being a third one, if there will be. But I cannot wait to read it. I love his writing. I just love the world that he's created. I can't wait to pick it up. It's going to be a priority of mine next year for sure. The next one is Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I love F. Scott Fitzgerald. Surprisingly, The Great Gatsby is not my favorite book of his, but I would like to do a video actually on Fitzgerald and my favorite books of his and what I like about his writing. I picked that up because I love the sound of the plot. It's kind of set in the Riviera around the kind of 20s. It's the story of a husband and wife and their relationship throughout the progress of that book. And I love that kind of dynamic, and I think he does it really well, and I can't wait to read it. And the next one was The Red Pony by John Steinbeck. It's a very short story. I've mentioned multiple times on my channel before that I love Steinbeck's writing. He writes about the human experience in such a wonderful, lyrical way. I cannot wait to read it. I think it'll be a good palate cleanser in between other books. The next trilogy is a priority trilogy for me next year. Mark from the Slowly Read channel loves this series, and Prince of Nothing had been on my radar for a while, but after I watched him talk about it, I was like, yeah, Prince of Nothing is a series that I really need to get to. So I got The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker. I got The Warrior Prophet, and then The Thousandfold Thought. Cannot wait to read the series. I think it's gonna be a Q1 series for me, and I'm psyched. Cannot wait. Next one is Goat Song by Tom Holt. So Tom Holt is the real name of KJ Parker. KJ Parker is a pseudonym. I've heard that he kind of writes absurdist, mythological satire, which sounds amazing. And so I picked up the first book in this trilogy, the first book being Goat Song, and I just want to see how his writing is different. And then I got The Two of Swords, volumes 2 and 3 by KJ Parker, because I owned the first book, so I was like, let's just get the full set. And then I also got My Beautiful Life by KJ Parker and The Big Score by KJ Parker from Subterranean Press. Beautiful books. I'm going to be reading them with Alan, you know, over the next kind of couple of months. So I'm super excited. They're shorter stories as well, so we should be able to get through them pretty quickly. There's quite a lot of KJ Parker on this list, and there's a reason for that. Next one is The Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It is a recent novella that he released. I've not read any Tchaikovsky at the point of this video, but I think I'm going to read that over Christmas because it's nice and short, and I want to get a flavour of his writing style. I own quite a lot of his books now. I just need to read them. So I'm very excited to get a first taste of his writing style. The next one is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. Again, Hemingway, I've read a little bit of his stuff now, and I just want to read more. And The Movable Feast is like really short. There's actually somebody from Alan's server who recommended it, and I looked it up and I was like, I have to get this book. And so again, I'll kind of fit that in between some of the heavier stuff that I'm reading. The next one is The Belly of the Bow, which is book 2 of the Fence trilogy. Thought I'd pick it up because I kind of went on this KJ Parker binge buy. I don't know why. I just thought, you know what, I just want to buy all of his books, so let's do it. Next one, I actually won. I never win giveaways, literally never. This is the first time I've ever won a giveaway. I won a Mark Lawrence giveaway, and he asked me what book I wanted of his, and if he had it, he'd send it to me, or it would be of his new book that he's writing. And I said, look, I'd really like something from the second trilogy that he's written after Prince of Thorns won, the Broken Empire trilogy. It's just gone out of my head. I know what it's called, it's just gone out of my head. And he said that he had the third book, I think it's the third book of the trilogy. And I said, yes, please send that to me, and then I can just buy the first two myself. So I got The Wheel of Oshime by Mark Lawrence, and it's signed, and he wrote a really nice note in it. It was really cool. Very, very cool that I won it. I literally never win anything. The next two actually are my Goldsboro picks of the month. I got All of Us Villains by Amanda Goody and Christine Lynn Herman. It sounds really cool, actually. It looks kind of creepy, lots of dark magic, and I don't know, it looks very cool. And then the next one is Absinthe by Brendan Bellacourt. One of the most stunning hardbacks I've ever seen in my life. It's so beautiful. I love the premise behind it, the fact that like absinthe can poison some people, but then it can also give powers or enhance powers for other people. I love it. It's such a cool premise. The next one was recommended to me by someone in the Slowly Read Discord server, and that is Bridge of Birds by Barry Hugard. I've heard it's kind of absurdist. I know Angela read it recently, she really enjoyed it, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna like it. I just think I need to be in the right mood for it. So I will be reading that probably in Q1 of next year, because it's a very short book. And it is a trilogy, but apparently it's recommended that you read them separately because they're an acquired taste, and it's good to kind of leave a bit of distance in between them, from what I understand. Next, I got one of those I don't know if they're limited editions, but special editions of The Lord of the Rings. You can actually see it there by J.R.R. Tolkien. Lord of the Rings is going to be a big series for me to read next year. I cannot wait. Such a beautiful book, stunning, Loads of people have done unboxings of it, so I'm not going to bother. But it's absolutely stunning and I cannot wait to read it. I also got the broken binding limited editions of the Dandelion Dynasty. You have The Grace of Kings, The Wall of Storms and The Veiled Throne, all by Ken Liu. Very excited to read this author. I just heard really good things about his writing and I have a feeling that I'm going to really love it. And it's a series that I'm going to try and prioritize for next year. Then I got The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I hate contemporary romance, but then I was told by my good friend Angela that this is a good contemporary romance and she thought that I would like it. I picked it up. I really enjoyed it. It was the first contemporary romance in a very, very, very long time that I actually enjoyed. And I'll talk more about it in my wrap up at some point. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it and I'm glad she told me to read it. I got Norliska Groans by Michael R. Fletcher. I've not read any Michael Fletcher yet, which seems like a crime at this point. I have a feeling that I'm really going to love Beyond Redemption, which is the first book in the Manifest Illusions trilogy. The first 2 books are out. I want to wait until all 3 books are out so that I can just binge them. I don't really like reading series separately, so I'm just going to wait until some of his other series are completed as well. I know Norliska Groans is part of a series, but apparently you can read it as a standalone. So I'm going to pick that up next year and I can't wait to read it. I have a feeling I'm really going to love it. And then the last one I purchased myself was 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have no interest in any of her other books, but this one sounds really interesting. Angela, Ina, and Katrina, I think, has read it. And I think Ariel has read it as well. I think they all really loved it. So I have to pick it up in that case. Now we're going to move on to Christmas gifts. I'm going to try and get through these pretty quickly because this video right now is at 28 minutes. I will obviously cut it down, but that's a lot. Kate got me 2 books. She got me The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells and The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I've got a lot of H.G. Wells to read, which I'm looking forward to. And then I got Cage of Souls by Adrian Tchaikovsky from Katrina. I cannot wait to read this book. It's going to be a priority book for me next year. The cover is absolutely stunning. The premise behind it sounds really great, and it's a standalone sci-fi, and it's like kind of, I think it's got like end of the world vibes or something, so totally down for that. A group of my friends and I, we did a Secret Santa, and Ina ended up getting me, she knows me too well, like she got me the Age of Madness trilogy, which I own already, but I don't have the US hardbacks, and I've been umming and ahhing about getting them, and she got me them for my Secret Santa present, and she delivered them to me while I was in my hotel in New York in the middle of quarantining because I had COVID and I was really ill, and it was like the best present that I could have got at that moment in time. Yeah, she knows how I feel about that, but it was such a lovely surprise. I really love the US hardbacks actually. One of them is signed as well, like trust Ina to do that. So the next 3 books I got from the Alan Patron Secret Santa. I got these from Stardray. I got Unsold by Will White. I got The Magic of Recluse by Le Modisette, and I got Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe. These are all 3 books that they have read. I'm really appreciative, so generous, and I cannot wait to read, especially Unsold. But the other 2 I've heard really great things about as well, so I'm super excited. And then the next one I got from Sharon, and she got me The Patience of a Dead Man. This is the complete series. She loves this series. She's the person who put this series on my radar, and I put it on my wish list after I heard her raving about it. And then the fact that she got it for me is just wonderful. And I cannot wait to read it because I know she loves it. I've got 2 last ones, and these are both from Angela. One is 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City by KJ Parker. As you can see, there's a common theme here. All my friends know that I love KJ Parker, and so they just buy me Parker books. That is the first book in the Walled City trilogy, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. And then she has ordered me another book, but it hasn't been delivered at the time of this recording, so I don't know what it is, but I just want to shout it out. But I'll reveal it in my next book haul because I just wanted to put it together though. So there you have it. This video is extremely long, and I just want to say thank you. It's really heartwarming, and I'm very touched. Definitely let me know, as usual, if you've read any of these books, if there are any favorites or misses for you in this list. I'm always kind of curious before I go in. I always like to kind of get a sense of whether something might work for me or not. But I'm going to leave it here, folks, because this video has been going on for so long, and I'm sure you're all bored at this point. So I will see you in the next video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It always helps. As always, stay safe, take care, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.